Hi mga ka-friendships, may adlaw sa tanan. And welcome back dito sa ating paboritong channel, Char. So mga ka-friends, review muna tayo about sa previous video natin tungkol sa TRF Objective 9 bago tayo mag-start sa content natin today about sa TRF 10 mga ka-friendships. So, the TRF 9 mga ka-friendships was all about kung paano i-handle ang learner with learning disabilities or difficulties. So, after natin nagawa ng reflection sa prompt number 1 na yun, mga friendships, you also designed a lesson plan for the gifted and talented learners in the prompt number 2. So, para sa mga hindi pa nakapanood nun, mga friends, pwede niyong panoorin. Nasa previous video lang natin. Ang title ng video na yon ay Paano Sagutan ang TRF 9 prompt number 1 and 2. So, thank you so much in advance, mga ka-friendships. So, today, mga ka-friendships, I will be teaching you kung paano sagutan naman ang TRF 10 prompt number 1 and 2. So, mga ka-friendships, nakita natin dito sa harapan natin, Objective 10, adopted and used culturally appropriate teaching strategies to address the needs of learners from indigenous groups. And mga friendships sa prompt 1, below is an assessment activity for the class of 30 learners, so 5 of which belong to indigenous people or IEP group. Evaluate the appropriateness of the activity using learners. Write your response in this form. And the directions here for your assessment, research on the following rules in your community by asking your parents or anyone with knowledge in these rules. Choose from set A and set B. Explain why these are important rules. So mga ka-friendships, sa Objective 10 po, this is all about handling a class with indigenous group of learners. So, before mga friendships, we need to conduct first a research about the IP group kasi mga friendships, dapat alam natin kung anong klaseng classroom management ang implement or sundin natin sa class. Yun. And mga friendships, sa first 2 slides here, ito na yung mga inputs natin sa ni-research natin kasi mga friendships, kailangan pong knowledgeable tayo, alam natin ang topic about sa mga IP people kasi mga friendships dito po masusubok natin kung anong dapat na ang strategies or teaching methods ang i-apply natin kapag kasama sila sa klase mga friends kasi hindi lang naman ang mga IP learners ang estudyante natin sa loob ng classroom kasi mga friendship nasa hinalo na siya doon sa mga ibang students for mainstreaming mga friends yung tawag doon. So ito din kasama yan mga friendship sa ni-research natin para sa kung paano natin sila turuan, i-handle at anong mga methods or strategies na best for them mga friendships para mas matututo sila. And ngayon mga friendships, as a teacher, we sometimes forget that there are IP students who are in the mainstream, ito yung nabanggit ko kanina, who need a unique approach of teaching and assessment. So this shows in many research studies that tell us that the needs of these children are not being addressed. However, there are revolutionary movements for indigenous people, especially in the basic education. Our curriculum advocates inclusivity, fairness, and culture sensitivity to all students and to the groups they belong. This is based on or according to Deped Order number 32 series of 2015, DO 72 series of 2009, and DO 101 series of 2010. Ito yung mga na-research natin mga friendships ha. Kailangan ilagay sila dyan sa site for our citations para mas matibay yung reflection natin mga friendships para to convince the panelists. Mapaniwala natin sila kasi mas okay yung mayroon tayong mga Deped orders in-attach mga friendships, mga according to. The assessment given as example in this reflection form is one way of showing us how to provide a proper and valid assessment test to all our students, irrespective of their community groups. It also shows how different the IEP students may look at things and concepts learned in school. And for the IEPs, the elders and the community are very fundamental to their existence, and therefore, for the teaching instruction and assessment to be successful for this type of learners, the task of the learners must allow them to function in society and enable them to utilize their own culture and environment. So, ang last natin na slide, mga friendship, for the prompt number 1, it says here, to retrospect, we should always remember that assessment strategy must be in consonance with the teaching strategy in order to really assess if the objectives based on the competencies prescribed by our curriculum are being carried out in our lesson in order to address the learning needs of our students in indigenous groups. We must make all the parts of our lesson culture sensitive, inclusive, and conducive for them, bearing in mind that these students are the future of our country. So mga ka-friends, dito sa Objective 10, hindi na natin siya inisa-isa katulad dun sa Objective 9 na mayroon tayong mga parts sinusunod doon. Dito mga ka-friendships, in-explain mo lang siya kung ano yung side natin. So, sabi ko kanina nga, kailangan natin mang-research ng mga Deped orders or mga batas para mas mapatibay natin ang ating insights na ibigay at para mas ma-discuss natin ng maayos at articulate mga ka-friendships. Yun. Kasi ang hirap mag-start, hindi natin alam anong ilalagay natin based doon sa binigay na situation kung wala tayong alam sa mga Deped orders, sa mga inclusive education program, mga friendships. Kasi kasama kasi itong mga IEP learners, mga friends, hindi lang yung mga ADHD learners, mga gifted, mga talented, or learners with difficulties, learning difficulties or challenges, gano'n mga friendships, kasama po ang mga IEP doon. And then mga friendships, next na slide ay about sa prompt number 2 sa TRF10. Dito mga friendships, napansin natin, we will be designing here a lesson plan for the class with indigenous students, mga friendships. So, design a lesson plan for your class that integrates aspects of IEP's culture using the national mandates on indigenous people's education as reference. So, mga ka-friendships, ito na yung mga RAs na research natin, Deped orders, isabi dito sa Republic Act 8371, Indigenous People Right Act of 1997, ganon, Deped order, number 62, Section 2011, or adopting the National Indigenous. Mga ka-friendships, kailangan pong meron tayong mga references, kasi para mas maganda kapag mayroon tayong maipakitang proof sa ating discussion, mga friends, or articulation. Kasi ang hirap mag-elaborate kung wala tayong alam sa topic, sa totoo lang, mga friendships. Diba? Kahit kayo, aminin ninyo, ang hirap maggawa ng paragraph, mag-compose ng sentence about sa given na topic kung wala tayong kaalam-alam sa topic. Kaya tayo dapat ay magbasa ng mga Deped orders or mga RAs. Yon. So, mga friendships, the integration of the IP culture in the lesson plan must be highlighted and annotated in these reflection forms. Attach your lesson plan here. So, ito na mga friendships, ang reflection muna natin bago natin ipakita yung lesson plan natin or activities. Ito ang lesson plan, discuss ko dito na used by the teacher during the class observation is the same lesson plan to be presented in this TRF number 2. However, the attachment is included, the activity for the set B. Ang pinili ko po mga friendships kasi mayroon tayong mga IP learners. Kaya set B ang pinili ko. Kasi sabi doon, choose lang. Pumili ka lang ng set. So, I chose set B kasi mayroon tayong mga IP group or learners, mga friendships. And is different from the other students since it will touch the indigenous people education curriculum framework, especially in the historical context and process of framework formulation and key concept used in IP education. So, here mga friendships, ang activity natin, one for them, sa mga IP students natin, ang direction, it says here, find and circle the given words in the grid. So, this is the word search, mga friendships or grid. Look for them in all directions, including the backwards and diagonal. After completing the word search, answer the next performance task. There will be number 2 activity later, mga friendships. So, ang gagawin lang ng mga friendships ay i-circle lang nila dito. Hanapin nila to yung nation, ancestors, native, tradition, justice, culture, indigenous land tribe. Ito mga friends, ang mga words na yan ay related yan or may kaugnayan yan sa mga IP learners natin. Kasi maging, tayo mga friendships maging sensitive tayo sa kanila. Huwag tayong mag-ingat tayo sa mga salita din kasi baka maano tayo niyan, lagot tayo sa alright, so kung tapos na yan nila, i-present mo itong number 2 activities na maka-friendships. So direction dito ay in a new Visual Studio Net project using window form application of Microsoft Visual Studio of higher version, create a program that have a list box tool inside the collection editor, and all the given words in the activity 1 you will be graded using the rubrics below. So provide kayo mga friendships ng rubrics in grading their outputs kasi kailangan po mga friendships na nag-provide tayo at alam din ng mga students natin or learners ang paano i-rate yung work nila by presenting the rubrics para guided. They will be guided the activity para alam nila, aware sila na okay, ganito ang gagawin ko since mayroong mga percentages sa ganitong part. So, yung mas maganda pa kung mayroon tayong rubrics. And mga ka-friendships, yan na po ang lahat natin kung paano gawin yung TRF10, prompt 1 and 2. So sana mga ka-friendships, naintindihan nyo yung discussion natin kung paano sagutan gawin ang TRF10, 1 and 2. At kung hindi nyo lubusan naintindihan, nag-sink in sa ating mga minds, pwede nyo i-watch ulit ang video ito mga ka-friendships para mas lubusan at maintindihan nyo talaga kung paano gawin. Madali lang mga ka-friendships, madali, super dali lang talaga. Huwag kayong kabahan dyan. Alam ko na yung mga iba dyan, kinakabahan na. Thank you so much mga ka-friendships for the love and support. See you sa next video natin mga ka-friendships. Love you all. Bye!